she just, this intuitive nature that she has, it's like she does these surgical strikes where it's like she goes into your soul and something comes so clear for her that she'll just drop these wisdom bombs.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rob Dubay, and I am here with Gino Wickman. Gino, how you doing?
I always love the question. I'm doing great, Rob. Thanks for asking.
Great,
How are you?
Great's better than good, I guess.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you
Good,
for asking.
good.
We're going to have our coffee shop conversation. What does that mean exactly?
Well, what that means is if you've not heard a coffee shop episode, that is where Rob and I, for the last 20 years, whatever the number is, have been sitting in a coffee shop a couple, 3, 4 times a year. We get together, we'll spend 2 to 4 hours, and we just talk about whatever comes up. And so what we do on these episodes is that exact same dynamic. So you're now sitting with us in the coffee shop. Neither one of us knows the topic the other one is going to bring up. We take turns going back and forth. Today, I believe it's my turn, so I'm going to bring up the first topic. We bring it up, we have a little conversation, and then Rob will then come up with his topic after mine, and we get through as many as we can, but truth be told, we get through 1 or 2 per episode, so keep your expectations low on how many we'll get through. And that's what the coffee shop conversation is all about.
All right, so let's do it.
All right, so the topic I'd like to talk to you about is silent retreats, and I want to tee this up, and there's a reason I'm asking. So you just got back from your silent retreat, your week of turning the world off. I have always been intrigued by it. I love the fear out there whenever anybody hears about sitting in silence for 5 straight days, the panic in their face. There are 3 times I've been scheduled to go do a silent retreat, and all 3, for some reason, got canceled. I can't remember the first one. The second one, COVID canceled it. The third one, 6 months after my brother died, his wife died as we were there in Boulder about to head up the mountain. We had to then drive or fly home at 5 a.m. the next morning. So for some reason, the universe does not want me to experience a silent retreat just yet. But I would love for you to share. I would love for our audience to hear, what does it do for you? Why do you do this every year when most people freak out at the thought of not saying a word for 3 days, 5 days, 7 days? So, Penny, for your thoughts.
Well, from my own perspective, one thing that I realized is that almost from the time I was born, or any of us really for that matter, we never have had the ability, the chance, the opportunity to be with just our thoughts. We're always busy, and so what's that like? What is it like to be with our own thoughts? There's one of my favorite sayings is from Anne Lamott, and she says, "My mind is like a bad neighborhood. I try to never go there alone." And I think that's why the idea of going away and being in silence for any period of time, even a day for some people, is just overwhelming. And 20 years ago, when I first went to a day of silence with somebody who's very important to me, who named Jack Cornfield, I was scared to death. I remember telling my wife, I don't know how I'm going to get through this entire day without speaking. But what I found, and what I find most people experience who have the fear to a degree, is that it is actually not difficult at all. Once you settle in, it's actually very refreshing and peaceful. And so the way it usually works, if you go for an extended period of time, you mentioned 5 days, so let's just use that as an example. The first couple of days, your mind's still very busy. Let's call it all the surface stuff that you've got going on in your life, and it just all comes up. I mean, it just all floods. It's like one thing after another, and then it's kind of peaceful for a minute, and you're like, oh, that's nice. But then it comes back up, and you find yourself ruminating on this, that, or the other thing. And what's amazing about it is you'll even ruminate on things that maybe you wouldn't have had time to ruminate on, which I actually think is a good thing. But then what happens, and for most people, their experience is somewhere around end of day 2, day 3, is it just gets quiet. And everything starts to get very vibrant. Sounds, colors, nature, food, taste, all the senses really start to kick in because, frankly, in our everyday life, we don't have time to notice it all. We're just going too fast and we're exhausted, many of us. And so we just don't have time. Even sleep. I remember one person who came to the Do Nothing retreat, which is the retreat that I host and I run and I teach at. He said he never experienced brushing his teeth like he had on that retreat because he was so aware and present of every sensation of that brushing of the teeth, the feeling, the taste of the toothpaste, the water, the whole experience. And that's remarkable. This is what life is all about. It's so rich and we kind of keep it dull is what we end up doing. When I say dull, I mean like a dull knife, it's like we just kind of keep it too much at the surface. And, the retreats bring that out. So I guess I'll just stop there.
No, that's good. And then, so that you've answered, what does it do for you? Now I very specifically would love to know, what did this one last week do for you? Like, what's one big takeaway or one thing you got out of it, or one or two or three, whatever comes to mind, but what did you get out of this one specifically?
So, people ask me that all the time, and I mentioned a couple podcasts ago, I realized.
And how will you get an ROI on that, Rob? And, and so walk us through how you, yeah, exactly.
You knew where I was going, exactly. I just, wherever you're at in your life, something's going to come up. I've had people come and they'll say, I'm so disappointed. I didn't have any big ahas. And it was just like, no, don't be disappointed. That means you had expectations. There's no expectations needed for a retreat. There's no intentionality needed. Just come and sit and be in silence and observe and see what comes up. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to solve. There's nothing to fix. So what came up for me on this one, it was actually really peaceful. It was really peaceful. I'd done some energy work before. I went to Boulder the day before. I did some very deep work, and I was actually kind of anxious that a lot of stuff might come up, but it was just the opposite. I was just really present in the moment. It was really beautiful.
Yeah, and there was definitely a noticeable difference in you when you got back compared to when you left, for what that's worth.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. I want to say one more thing on that. Yeah. So I do want to give a shout out. So Rob does a Do Nothing retreat, silent retreat. It has nothing to do with Shine or this 10 disciplines business, and he does it out of the kindness of his heart. So if you have interest, Rob hosts it. Google it. You'll find it on the Do Nothing retreat, Rob Dubé. But for what that's worth,
Thank
I
you,
just wanted to
Gino.
give you a shout out.
I appreciate that. It's an honor actually that I've had in my life, and I hope I will continue to. Okay, so now interestingly enough, when I went to go to the retreat, I stopped off in Boulder, like I mentioned a minute ago, and wouldn't you know it, I'm under the same roof with you.
That was
We're
so
at the
funny.
same hotel.
So
We're
crazy.
texting each other. We never connected.
Yeah.
But you were there. You were doing your annual trip with your buddies.
Yeah.
And you guys go deep. So would you be willing to share how it was, what you guys were up to?
Sure, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that is funny, though. So I had no idea we were going to be in the same hotel at the same time in Boulder, Colorado. It was Kristen, our assistant operations person, who said, hey, just a heads up, you're going to be in the same hotel with Rob next week. So with that said, so give a little context. For 25 plus years now, I've been going to Boulder with two friends, and we just go very deep. That's where the concept of shedding layers, where I first said it. Actually, it was in the poem I wrote at 29 is when I first said it. But I would always talk about how I go to Boulder to shed layers, and every time I shed layers, there will be tears. And so that's where that all comes from. And so every year that we do that, almost every year, we engage someone to kind of take us deep, someone to work with us, help us shed a layer. And so this year we worked with a woman by the name of Christy Woolley, who's just a very, very special person, connected beyond connected with all there is. And so she just has this incredible intuition, and it's almost like she can see inside your soul. And she just took us through a few experiences throughout a 24-hour period that was just incredibly profound. And so, similar to you, there's not these huge specifics, but man, I just felt as connected as I've ever felt. I want to say maybe more connected than ever. Just some great clarity and insight. I feel like there's this kind of next message brewing for me. I feel like 2026 is the year that I'm going to have kind of a new message to deliver, or a refined message, and some clarity came around that. And it wasn't so much clarity as to the message, but a clarity around just be patient. Right now, I'm just kind of in this liminal space, I believe is the way it's pronounced, this holding pattern, this kind of next phase of readiness. So just a real, and it was a profound experience for all three of us. And I won't speak to the other two gentlemen's experiences, but those were really heavy. One was just super heavy and cool. So you can dig deeper, but that's...
Yeah, so first of all, about the patience, was that something that came out for you during your time with this person, or?
Yes, yeah. That's just a big clarity around that in terms of just patience, presence, just kind of be in love. So yeah, it came really clear there.
Mm-hmm. And how does that feel? Are you a patient person in general?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. You know the answer to that. No, I'm not. So I have these two sides to me in anything I do. This very patient side and this very impatient side. And the impatient side is the monster that shows up quite often. So yeah, I can be very impatient with things. And so with this topic, I have been a bit impatient, while I have a knowing that, it's really important to be patient with this right now. The impatient monster creeps up. So it was a helpful validation and embodiment of that patience. And I'm just very comfortably sitting in that now.
Mm-hmm. And what type of work would she do with you to bring to the surface of whatever it is?
Yeah, I would say two things. It's hard to, the experience, we've done this so many times, it's like hard to remember all of it, but I would say there were kind of two pieces to it throughout the 24 hours. One is a lot of visualization. So she would take us through this meditative visualization work, and she did it about 4 different times.
Wow.
And all 4 were profound, what came up in those visualizations. And it's obviously customized for every person. And so the things that come up, we then discuss it, as a group. So that's kind of part one. Part two is this intuitive nature that she has. It's like she does these surgical strikes where it's like she goes into your soul and something comes so clear for her that she'll just drop these wisdom bombs. And so it's a combination of doing the visualization exercises and what would come out of that, and then just very robust, intuitive, connected conversations that were just like...
One-to-one or as a group?
As a group. No, as we were the 4 of us were together the entire time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she actually went into it thinking that she was actually going to work with us one-on-one a little bit. And then I'm so glad she didn't do that. She didn't realize how close and connected the 3 of us are. There's nothing that we don't know about each other. Like, we know everything about each other, good, bad, and ugly. So thank God her intuition was correct. So no, we were together the whole time.
And so you said over a 24-hour period of time.
Yeah, so we did 3 hours the night before, and then that went all the way through the next day. So obviously we wrapped up at whatever it was, 7, 8 o'clock at night that first day. We went to sleep. We woke up the next day and went back to, got back at it at like 8 a.m. And then we wrapped up at maybe 4. So, it was like 4 o'clock the day before to 4 o'clock the next day. And we slept in between.
Mm-hmm. This may be my last question, but how do you do with visualizations?
How do I do?
Yeah, are you good at visualizing?
I think so, but for me, it's, a lot of times it's feelings and words come up. I shouldn't say that. I guess it's, as I think about it, it's always different. But I think I do pretty good with it is the short answer. Yeah.
I'm excited for you because you are going to impact 70 million people coming up here. And the patience and allowing the things to unfold naturally and the magic that comes from that, It's going to be pretty amazing.
It still hits me in a heavy way when you say that out loud. But that is another visualization that came to me for what that's worth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What was it?
What was the visualization?
Yeah, you say that was
just
another
the number.
The number, or what did you see?
Oh, it's a number. Yeah. Because I see words a lot. You know?
Okay, I get you. Yeah. So that's good. That's good because the visualization doesn't have to be like I'm in front of all these people.
Oh yeah,
it's just a
no,
number.
yeah,
It's
and
just a word.
that's why I was going to explain that, but then I realized it's all different forms. So sometimes it'll come up as a word, and it's literally the letters. I mean, it's big block letters.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll hear the word, and sometimes I do see things. Yeah, all forms.
Yeah. There's amazing people out there to work with. I love that you did that. Very cool. Thank you for sharing. Anything else coming up for you?
I think that's it.
Yeah,
I think two topics was enough for today.
Yeah, there we go. So, as always, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Stay focused and much love.
Thank you for listening in today. We truly appreciate you taking the time to spend with us, and please tune in for the next episode. Until then, we wish you all the best in freeing your true self. Stay focused and much love.